We'll start with the prayers. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are studying Taittriya Upanishad, chapter 2. We are going towards the end of chapter 2 today, and then we'll start chapter 3. Any Upanishadic study is to know who I am, who is the creator of this world, what is the relationship between me and that creator. 3 questions. Who am I? Who is the creator? What is the relationship between me, the Jiva, and that creator? By the end of the study of Upanishads, you should be able to understand the 3 questions and also the 3 answers. Every Upanishad tries to answer these 3 questions. God is a word which is used in religious scriptures. Brahman is the same principle which is used in philosophy. In all Upanishad, God is called as Brahman. The same name you will get in different forms in different Upanishads. Taittriya Upanishad calls it Brahman. Mandukya Upanishad calls it Turiyam. Chandogya Upanishad calls it Bhuma. Ishavasya Upanishad calls it Isha. Bhagavad Gita calls it Uttama Purusha. These are all the same principle, the same entity, the same reality. But different names are given, so you should not get confused when you study Upanishads. The means to this realization of the reality is the Panchakoshas in Taittriya Upanishad, the 3 avasthas in Mandukya Upanishad, Shrotrasya Shrotram and Pratibodha in Keno Upanishad. Omkara analysis is done in Mandukya Upanishad very, very beautifully. These are all the means. We can use the 3 sharirams, we can use the panchakoshas, we can use the 3 avasthas to reach that ultimate reality. This reality, the first thing you should understand about this God or Brahman is that it cannot be experienced by the sense organs or the mind. It is only known through the Upanishads. This reality, the pramanam, the source of knowledge about the existence of this reality is the Upanishads. There is no other source. There is no scientific analysis which will lead to this reality. There is no reasoning which will lead to this reality. There is no experience which will lead to this reality. But how do I know that it exists? That is what we are studying in the Taittriya Upanishad. And this is how we ended the last session. Now I'll go back to that portion which is talking about the existence of this reality. How do I know that this Brahman or this reality exists? So we saw these 3 verses last week, which is a proof that there is something which is God or Brahman which existed before the creation of the universe. That is what is mentioned in these 3 verses. And the one who realizes this reality, he becomes fearless. We all have a fear with reference to our possessions. Our house, what will happen if I lose my house? What will happen if I lose my wealth? What will happen if I lose my relationships? What will happen if I lose this body of mine? These are all the fears. And the Upanishad says, the moment you come to know this reality, this Brahman, which exists beyond time, this aspect, it must be very clear to you. Don't look for Brahman, don't look for that God in this waking state and say that I am experiencing that Brahman or that reality. Even though it exists, but you cannot perceive it. Any perception of Brahman is a misconception, according to the Veda. So we answered this question and we said there are 7 reasons to show that God exists. This pure reality, which is timeless. In the waking state, you can try to understand this principle, which is called as timeless principle. In time, we know we are born, we exist in time, and then we go off in time. That is what we perceive outside. But there has to be an adhishtanam. Now, this is where the reasoning of the Veda comes in. In Chandogya Upanishad, they clearly state that the entire world which we experience in the 3 states is a product, is a karyam, is an effect. And there is for every karyam, there is a karanam. For every effect, there is a cause. So the cause of this body, the cause of this universe is timeless. And that is what is called as Brahman. If you can follow this reasoning, your intellect will start having a glimpse of that nature of that pure essence. Nimitta karanatvad. For anything which is in creation, you can see that there is intelligence behind whatever we perceive. Whether we experience the earth, which is the source of all the food, all the plants, all the trees, all the fruits, all the vegetation, which we all consume. Or you look at the sun, or you look at the moon, look at all the 5 elements. Look at creation as Lord Krishna says in the entire chapter 10 and 11 of the Bhagavad Gita. So nimitta karanatvat means there has to be an intelligent cause Therefore, that Brahman exists. Jiva Rupena Vartamanatvat. All of us are alive. We are living beings. We experience the world. There is a consciousness in us which experiences the world. So the Jiva is a proof that there exists something which is called as Brahman or consciousness. In this Taittriya Upanishad, the definition of Brahman is Satchit Ananda. Third reason, Jagat Rupena Vartamanatva. This whole world is manifest and then it goes to unmanifest. Manifest in the waking state, unmanifest in the sleep state. So therefore, there has to be a cause for this. That cause is called as Brahman. Sukrutat Prasiddhatvad. We have seen the glories of this creator in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So there has to be somebody who is owning up that glory, and that is Brahman. Rasa Rupena, Ananda Rupena, Prasiddhatvad. We all experience happiness in the world. What is the source of this happiness? I feel joy. I feel happiness when I achieve things in life. Is there a source for that? That source is Brahman. Shariram Chesha Darshanat. One which is behind the active body. Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manoyat, Vacho Hi Vacham, Keno Upanishad, the first mantra, second mantra. Bhaya Abhaya Karanatvad. Some people have fear in this life. Some people don't have fear. The one who has fear and the one who doesn't have fear, there has to be cause for this. A jnani is fearless. Then the next question is, does a wise person or an ignorant person attain Brahman after death or before death? Does anybody attain this Brahman? So what the Upanishad says is that the attainment of Brahman is a misconception. Upanishad reveals Brahman as I, the subject, whether I am ignorant or whether I am wise. That means all of us, there is something behind us. Behind this body-mind complex, there is a reality. There is God principle. But how come, if that is there, how come I don't know that? If that is my real nature, if that Satchidananda Swarupa is my real nature, what is the obstacle between me, the Jiva, and that pure consciousness, which is always there in 3 periods of time: past, present, and in future? The answer to that question is ignorance. Mula avidya. In the Puranas, there is a question, for some people who may know the story about Kunti Putra in Karna in Mahabharata was, if you know the story, you will understand this. Karna came to know that he is the son of Kunti. Now, whether he knows that he is a son of Kunti or not, if Kunti is his mother, suppose I don't know my mother's name. Whether I don't know my mother's name or I don't know my mother at all, but after some time, if I come to know that she is my mother, now what happens to me? Was the mother whom I didn't know, was she existing before? Yes, but I didn't know about it. So what is the difference? It is ignorance. Today I have come to know, but yesterday I didn't know. So that ignorance is the problem. Ignorance about the existence of such a reality is the problem according to Upanishads. All Upanishads boil down and say, even all the higher texts of Vedanta, when you study, like Vichara Sagara, like Naishkarma Siddhi, all these, they will analyze what is this ignorance in a very big way. Naishkarma Siddhi is another advanced, very advanced text. And there, the author, he devotes one full section for this. This Mula Vidya is a topic in Vichara Sagara, very, very much in detail it is discussed. So the notional distance, I don't know my nature, but I know I am. I don't know who I am. That means I don't know my real nature as consciousness, as existence, as beyond time. Don't forget this word timeless. In your inquiry about yourself, you will always reach a condition of timelessness. A condition of timelessness is called as nothingness, because you don't experience anything. But what Upanishad says is that nothingness doesn't exist at all in this universe. Either it is a cause or it is an effect. What you call as nothingness is nothing but that Brahman, that pure consciousness, without the body, without the Panchakoshas, without the three avasthas. The three avasthas are always experienced in time. Even though we say sleep, but we say sleep with reference to the waking state. I slept for 8 hours, so there is time involved in sleep. So all our experiences in life is within time. But what Upanishad is trying to reveal to me is a unique reality. We can only call it as a reality because it doesn't have any features. So never say I have reached Brahman. The only thing I can say is I am Brahman. As Brahman, as this, see, Brahman is a very, you may think it is a very difficult thing to understand and all that. It is very easy. See, suppose you drop your identification with this body. Very simple. Just close your eyes and say, I am not this body. I am not this mind. Who am I? I am the pure consciousness, awareness principle. That is all what the Upanishad is trying to teach us. This realization can come while you're listening to the talk. They say that Shravanam gives us self-realization. While listening, you can say, I am not this body. I am not this mind. There is a principle in this body which is listening to the talk. That principle is called as consciousness, awareness. Without that principle, the body is inert. The whole world is inert. What makes this world sentient, functioning, cosmos is this Brahman, is this Satchidananda principle. Okay, so that is the end of the second chapter, the analysis of Brahman. With this analysis, we come to the end of the 7th Anuvaka, and we end the chapter of Bhrigu. Okay? Now, before we go to the 10 Anuvakas of Bhrigu, the third chapter, what we have finished is Brahmanandavalli, the second chapter. Just a quick, what did we learn in Brahmanandavalli? There is something called as Brahman or pure awareness. How do I try to know that Brahman? It is through the inquiry of Panchakoshas. What are the Panchakoshas? What are the 5 covers which are covering this Atma or Brahman? The first kosha is Annamaya kosha, the food sheath. The body, the gross body is nothing but food in a different form. The subtle part of the food which we eat becomes this body. Then the next question is, there is a second layer. I am not only the gross body, but I am a breathing individual. I breathe. So breath is the second covering. Prana. The prana is also inert. Prana doesn't have the knowing capacity. So it is not Brahman. Inert body is not Brahman. So the first 2 koshas are rejected. Third kosha, the third covering, is Manomaya kosha, the mind. The mind is a pendulum. It thinks of one thing in 1 second and then it negates it in the next second. I like something, I don't like something. I want to do something, I don't want to do something. So this cannot be me. That is what the Upanishad says, because it is changing. What does the Upanishad says? Brahman is changeless. So the third kosha is negated. Vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnanamaya kosha is the doer principle, ego in us. Karta, bhokta together is called as the ego ahamkara. Why ego is not the reality? Does the ego exist in the 3 periods of time? Does the ego exist in all the 3 states? This is how you should do inquiry in your own mind about who you are. The ego we experience in the waking state is different than the ego in the dream state. Totally different. And the ego in the sleep state is, I know nothing. So the ego is also changing. It cannot be the reality. I'm now talking about with reference to the individual. So the individual is asking the question, who am I? So the 4 koshas are negated. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. What is the last 5th kosha? The 5th kosha is Anandamaya kosha. I am not only a doer of actions, but I also am a bhokta, an enjoyer of the results of action. So many actions I do in my life. When the actions are fulfilled, they give me a result. When they give me a result, I feel happy. Whether it is a small thing of an ice cream or whether it is a big thing of getting a medical degree or a PhD or getting your children married, These are all things in the external world which gives us happiness. And the Upanishad says these are all grades of happiness in the external world. Priya, Moda, Pramoda. 3 grades. Because they're changing and they are not permanent, it is not me. So the 5 koshas, which are divided into 3 avasthas or 3 bodies, the gross body is the Annamaya kosha. Subtle body is the 3 koshas, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya. Subtle body gone. Third body is the causal body, which is the Anandamaya kosha. So if 3 bodies are gone, 5 koshas are gone, who am I? In the Bhashyam, in the Shankara Bhashyam, which we will try to do it next week or probably the week after that, there is an analysis of Apuro Pakshi coming and saying, there is nothing in the world. That analysis is a very deep analysis, but what Shankaracharya says is, there is nothingness doesn't exist in the world. It is either something which we can see, which is called as manifest, or something which is unmanifest, which my sense organs cannot perceive. What my sense organs cannot perceive is Brahman, that cause, which is the cause of the Pancha Koshas, which is the cause of the 3 Sharirams, is that reality. So the Upanishad finishes its teaching in chapter 2. The Upanishad itself feels that some students may not have got the essence of Brahman. So the Upanishad introduces the 3rd chapter, where there is a dialogue between a guru and a Sishya. Varuni is the guru. Bhrigu is the Sishya. There is a dialogue between them. That dialogue is presented in the form of 10 anuvakas, which is what we are going to enter now. There are 3 topics in this 10 anuvakas. Anuvaka means paragraphs written in, normally in Upanishads you'll get verses. That verse which you get in Katha Upanishad and Mandukya Upanishad is called as Anuvaka because it's in a paragraph form. So the 3 topics which we are going to study now, very short, in a short way, we are going to study the 3rd chapter. The first topic is Brahma Jnanam Sakshat Sadhanani. What is the direct means of Brahman? This Brahman, what is the direct means? How do I know it directly within me? The Upanishad gives a beautiful definition right at the beginning. And that definition, if you keep it in mind, you will reach that pure state of yours. That's the first topic. Second topic. What are the indirect means to know this Brahman? That is taken up in 4 anuvakas, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the last one is, the 10th anuvaka is, what is the benefit of this knowledge? The benefit is, I become immortal. Here I stands for Atma. I who was thinking I am this body, gets the knowledge, I am Brahman. I am that pure awareness. I am Chaitanyam. If you don't like the word Brahman, you can use the word Chaitanya. It is more intimate to you because you are aware. Awareness is common to all of us. Like the air we breathe is common to all of us. There is no special air in India, special air here, and so on. It is common. Similarly, awareness, consciousness is common. That consciousness, universal consciousness, is what the Upanishad is trying to reveal. If I know I am that pure consciousness, and if my intellect is sharp enough to discriminate between the body, mind, the waking state, and the universe which I experience in the waking state, if I have developed that buddhi, that intellect, to discriminate, from time you go to the timeless. Your buddhi is capable. How does it get that power? With the power of the Upanishads. Between a normal buddhi and the world, there is no, you cannot know this reality. But if you bring the Upanishads, the in between, the knowledge of the Upanishads, if your intellect is able to understand, there is something. I didn't know this before. I have come to know it, and I can now go beyond time. All people who are studying these Upanishads, they have come to this only to understand, I am not this body or mind, but I am the pure Chaitanyam, which is eternal, which doesn't have birth, which doesn't have death. There are so many things written in the Upanishads about this Chaitanya, about this awareness. So many books and analysis are written on this one word called as Brahman or pure awareness. So many textbooks, the entire Veda is nothing but one topic: reality, God. What is the nature of God? If you are able to understand, you will transcend the body-mind identification, and you will be able to glide into that reality. Gliding into that reality is called as Jiva Brahma Aikyam. Oneness between the Jiva and Brahman. There is something. We all make an effort through our step-by-step study. It is only the study of Upanishads which will help you to go deep within your mind and discover this truth. So these are the 3 topics in the 10 Anuvakas of the 3rd chapter. The first topic, Brahma Jnana Sakshat Sadhanam. It comes in 6 verses or 6 Anuvakas. What is the direct means? The direct means is inquiry into the Brahman, inquiry into the reality, inquiry into God. Who is that God? What is the nature of the God? Try to inquire. The technical name in this Upanishad is, the name is called as Tapaha. Inquiry is called as Tapaha. Normal Tapaha means it is austerity, fasting, and all that is Tapaha. But in this particular chapter, Tapaha means inquiry. Intellectually try to understand, go deeper and ask the question, who am I? What is this world? What is that reality? In the 2nd verse of the 3rd chapter, the 1st section, so in the 1st verse of the 3rd chapter, Bhrigu the well-known son of Varuna, this is the verse, approached his father Varuna and requested, teach me Brahman. Varuna said to him, food, prana, eyes, ears, mind, and the speech are Brahman. He talks about 6 things. He talks about Annam, Prana, Mano, Vijnanam, Anando. In the top I have put here. So, Brahma Lakshanam is these 5 things. These are all the indicators to say that there is something beyond the food, something beyond the prana, something beyond the mind, something beyond the intellect, something beyond the happiness. There is something, is what the indirect method, what Bhrigu gets the knowledge. Varuna teaches indirectly in the first verse. And then he says another method. What is the second method? In the second verse, he says, Yato va imani bhutani jayante ena jayatani jivanti, that from which all the beings are born, that by which all of them continue to exist, that into which, when departing from this world, they all enter. That is what you should seek, O Bhrigu. That is what the teacher says. Very similar mantra to this is Kaivalya Upanishad, verse number 19. Mayyeva sakalam jatam. Same meaning is there in that. Same, exactly the same. This particular verse is a very important verse. You must all remember this verse at the time of meditation. Anytime you want to do an inquiry, this is the verse you should use along with the second chapter. In the whole of third chapter, this verse and one more verse is important. I will let you know that. But this verse, Yato va imani bhutani, Shankaracharya quotes this in almost every Upanishad. When he writes the Bhashyam, the commentary, Shankaracharya uses mantras from other Upanishads to explain a particular context, especially when it comes to revealing the reality. He will use this mantra, or he will use that verse 19 of Kaivalya Upanishad, or he will use the 7th mantra of Mandukya Upanishad, na anta prajnam, na bahish prajnam, na prajnam, all that mantra, or Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Agandam, Kathopanishad. So there are about 8 or 10 mantras. You should keep it very near to you. Take 1, 1, 2, 2 mantras from each of these Upanishads. I told you right at the beginning of the study of Upanishads, you must have your personal collection of the important mantras, which if you contemplate, you will know who you are. Bhagavad Gita also in 15th chapter talks about this same reality, called as, in that 15th chapter, Uttama Purusha Swanyaha, Paramatme tu Dakritaha. It is called as Uttama Purusha. So these verses, you should keep it with you. Throughout the study, you see what will happen is, when you have a collection of these 10 verses, you can see the connection between these 10 verses. In Brahma Sutra, when you study, there is a sutra called as Samanvaya Sutra. Samanvaya means it connects all the Upanishadic study. all the Upanishad study, they are all talking of the same reality. So Shankaracharya in Samanvaya Sutra brings out 20 or 30 mantras from different Upanishads, from Bhagavad Gita, from other texts, and says all of them are talking of this reality. So Vedantic meditation, which I conduct in my Wednesday sessions, is meant for such a contemplation. Omkara meditation. Omkara also leads to this Brahman only. Sagunam Brahma, Nirgunam Brahma. Sagunam Brahma means the whole universe which we perceive. Nirgunam Brahma means the Brahman which we don't perceive with our sense organs. So that Omkara, Om, the letter O, represents both. The Sagunam means the universe with gunas, and the Nirgunam, which is without the gunas. Both are known, are explained through the symbol Om. That is in Mandukya Upanishad it comes. We will be doing Mandukya after Kathopanishad. Next I'm planning to take Kathopanishad. Then we'll do Mandukya Upanishad. So this mantra, coming back to this mantra, is very, very important because this is what it says. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is the reality from where the bodies are born, bodies are existing, into which the bodies will go back. If I know that reality before the death of this body, I become immortal. I am that pure consciousness. It's a very easy thing if you know the methodology. If you follow the methodology of the Upanishad, then it is easy to come to our pure nature. This is how Varuni, who is the guru of Bhrigu, teaches. Bhrigu goes back and meditates on what these two verses. And then he realizes his nature as Brahman. And then he jumps with joy and says, what a treasure of knowledge I have received. That happens in the last few verses. So Brahman is what? It is Jagat Srishti Sthiti Laya Karanam. It is a cause of origination of the universe, sustenance of the universe, dissolution of the entire universe. This cause all of us experience, but we don't know that that is the cause. In sleep state, we are in ignorance about this cause. That cause is called as Brahman, but between Brahman and me, there is ignorance. That ignorance is called as tamas, that tamoguna. If I remove the tamoguna and I say I am that pure consciousness, what happens is I cross time, I cross space. I can hold on to that pure Chaitanyam as my reality. It is the reality of myself. It is the reality of the whole universe. That is what is the equation between Jiva and Brahman, which is revealed in Mahavakya. Jiva, Brahma, Aikyam. Aikyam means not equality, it is oneness. So the method of inquiry is Panchakosha Viveka, which was taught in the second chapter, is represented in the third chapter. So the teacher takes the intellect of the student from the gross Annamaya to the subtlest Anandamaya. Anando Brahmeti Divya Janat. Know that Anandamaya Kosha, where does that support for that comes from? Who am I support? What is the support for me in the Anandamaya Kosha, in the sleep state? What is my support? This is the question which the teacher asks the student. That support is called as Satchid Ananda Brahman. Ananda is non-experiential Chaitanyam. Very important point. Don't ever say, I am experiencing Brahman. The moment you say, I am experiencing Brahman, means you are not experiencing Brahman. You can only say, I am Brahman, not I am experiencing Brahman. Experience involves Triputi. Experience involves subject, object, instrument. So Anandamaya is experiential pleasure. Ananda is non-experiential Chaitanya. Awareness. In the Bhashyam, in the commentary, there is a lot of analysis on this word Ananda. I will let you know when we do the Bhashyam. From Chaitanyam, creation arises, rests, and goes back. This is a very important definition for self-realization. So while doing listening, Shravanam itself, if you're able to understand this one verse of this third chapter, you have understood the entire Taittriya Upanishad. Aham Chaitanya Rupa Atma Eva Brahma Asmi is the teaching of Varuni Vichara, which is over in the 6th Anuvak. So 1 to 6 is this analysis of the same 5 koshas which we did in the 2nd chapter. The whole of 2nd chapter was devoted to the analysis of the 5 sheets, the 5 koshas. And the same thing gets finished in the 6th Anuvak, which is in topic number 1. I told you there are 3 topics. The second topic is Sahakari Sadhanam. What are the indirect supportive means for realization of this Brahman? These supporting sadhanas like Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, meditation, these will not directly give you the knowledge. It will only support production of that knowledge in your own intellect. That knowledge, when you are able to say for your own self, I am that pure awareness, that is what is called as moksha. Moksha means freedom from identification and dropping the identification with this body and mind as an incidental phenomena happening in the waking state. That's all. How do we do the meditation? You see, there are 4 or 5 meditations which are taught in the 3rd chapter. Now we are entering that meditation portion. Water is the indirect cause for the fruit. Suppose you're growing, you have a plant at home and you grow. The seed which you put for the plant is the main, it is the main reason, it is the main cause. But the water which you pour, without water, the seed cannot become the fruit. Seed is the direct cause. Water is the supportive cause. Similarly, for this Brahma Jnanam, the direct cause is Upanishadic Brahma Vichara. Through the study of Upanishad, I do the analysis of inquiry of Brahman. What is the supportive? The supportive means which supports this knowledge of realization. That is called as Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. It is described in 7 to 9 Anuvakas, a part of the 10th also. Karma Yoga is what we have seen very intensely. We have studied the Bhagavad Gita when we did the Master Gita Master Life program. We studied 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, verse by verse, chapter by chapter, and chapter 3, 4, 5 of Bhagavad Gita discusses Karma Yoga in detail. Chapter 6 discusses Upasana Yoga in detail. Here we are only studying what is the essence of that 3 chapters. Sat Bhavana and Sat Karmani. Healthy, appropriate actions and healthy attitude towards my actions is Karma Yoga. That is what is Karma Yoga. Now, we have to use that portion for certain analysis about our attitude towards food. If we develop this attitude, then towards the food, it will give me the fitness to progress in spiritual life. There are 3 anuvakas, 7, 8, and 9, which talks about food. See, food is a very important aspect of our life. We consume food throughout our life from the time we are born till we die. Food is very, very important and it is given special attention in Taittriya Upanishad. In the 7th Anuvaka, it says, never criticize food because that is the one which is the cause of all the energy in the body. Never waste food. Never leave the food in your plate. Annadhyaga, don't do it. Many people you might have seen that whenever they serve in a plate, they will finish everything in the plate and they will leave nothing. As if the plate is completely empty. This is one of the disciplines which is taught to us in the 8th Anuvaka. Then the 9th Anuvaka says Vritti Karanam, all referring to Anna. The first one says that don't criticize food. Second one says don't leave the food behind. Third one says grow as much food as you can. You and I are not farmers. But what we can do is we can earn money, donate food. We can buy the food and donate food. Produce plenty of food, Annadanam, and share. These are the 3 anuvakas which are directly linked to food. The 10th one is Atithi Manava Seva, service to the guest who comes to the house. One of Panchamaha Yajnas is Atithi Devo Bhava. Atithi Devo Bhava means a guest, if he suddenly drops into your city and says, I have come to your city, I'm in the airport, I want to see you. Most of us will say, don't, I'm very busy, I'm out of town, this, that, some reason. But then here what this says is, Atithi Devo Bhava. That guest who is coming is in the form of God who arrives. Through that service to the guest, you can have a fit mind. That fit mind will lead you to Brahma Vidya. You see, all the Panchamaha Yajnas which we learned in Bhagavad Gita, we learn because by doing that, those yajnas, we are able to keep our mind stable. Otherwise, the mind is always in turmoil. There are 4 groups of Upasana. I told you Karma Yoga is one topic, and the second topic is Upasana Yoga. Upasana means meditation. There are 3 pairs of meditations which are taught in Taittriya Upanishad in the 3rd chapter. These are slightly subtle meditations I'll try to explain to you, see whether you can grasp it. They are very, very subtle. In chapter 1 of Taittriya Upanishad, there were a few meditations on mantras, on alphabets, on aspects of angas of the body, and so on. These are also subtle meditations. These meditations will enable you to have one pointedness of mind, focusing ability. The first pair, these are all to be done in pairs. What is the first meditation? The first meditation is you take the pair, the body and the prana. The body is the consumer of the prana. Prana is what? Prana is what is being consumed. Whatever is being consumed is what? Food. Indirectly, what it means, body is consuming different experiences in the world, and the prana is helping me to have experienced objects. The world in which we live in is nothing but it is perceptions of objects which are misunderstood as the subject. The body is an object, but it is considered as a subject. But here what we should understand is there is a jiva who is consuming the experiences of the world. That is the inner meaning of this upasana. Atma is Brahman, means seeing the divine play in and through the seemingly different names and forms. You see, the whole universe is nothing but name and form as per Chandogya Upanishad. There is no substance called as the world in essence. The substance is consciousness. The whole world is going back to consciousness in sleep, and it comes out of consciousness in the waking state. So the man of realization realizes that the world is experienced as a food for the Atman. That is the inner subtle meaning of this upasana. There is one supreme self which is a vitalizing principle behind this whole universe. If you have understood the first pair, now the second pair and the third pair is relatively easy. You have to understand the principle behind it. You see, in the first one, the principle behind it, experiencer consciousness, experienced world is the food, experienced consciousness, experiencer consciousness is the body. In the second pair, the two things which are taken from the universe is the fire principle and the water principle. What is the water? The water which we all experience, which is digested by the digestive fire. 15th chapter clearly says that I am the digestive fire in your stomach. The Lord, the creator of the universe, is saying what? Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashitaha Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachanam Chaturvidam. I am the one who is digesting the food in your body. Subtle. These are all subtle thoughts. When the food grain grows, it grows with water. The heat is necessary in the body to keep the body warm. When the body is warm, it can digest the food. So where is the fire element fixed? It is fixed in water. When the heat in the body is increased, what happens to us? We perspire. So then what we say, water is fixed in fire or fire is fixed in water. These are subtle upasanas. If you are able to do it, It will give you the ultimate reality is that Brahman principle, and the whole universe is the effect, and it is the universe depends on that Brahman, the awareness consciousness principle. See, these upasanas are meant for us to understand the simple fact that the whole universe is nothing but rising from that pure consciousness and going back to that pure consciousness. The third upasana is Prithvi and Akasha. Akasha finally consumes the earth. When there is pralayam, when there is dissolution of the world, what happens is the earth element is consumed by fire, from water. Then fire consumes water. Then the air consumes the fire. Then ultimately, Akasha consumes the Vayu principle. So every part of the earth is consumed by space. Space is what? It is all pervasive. Earth is pervaded by space. Similarly, consciousness is pervading the entire cosmos, including Akasha. See, this is how you have to grow from gross to the subtlest Atma. This awareness in us illumines the whole, it illumines the space also, because only in consciousness the space is coming and going. Consciousness is the eater, the consumer. The world of objects, names, and forms are consumed. But the names and forms are required to prove the existence of that consumer, which is called as consciousness. See, try to understand this. The world manifests consciousness. Consciousness reveals the world. Try to understand these two statements. Consciousness illumines the world. World manifests consciousness. Every factor in creation is an organ of the cosmic living being. Whole universe, the sun, the earth, Purusha Suktam, if you try to understand the Purusha Suktam, very beautiful Suktam. It describes the whole universe, and it says it's all coming from one Purusha. The sun, the sky, the moon, the stars, the water, plants, animals, human beings, all are nothing but Vishwarupa Ishvara. The 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also talks of the same Purusha. This type of Virat Upasana, all these three Upasanas, which I mentioned before, is called Virat Upasana, the cosmos. Meditating on the prana, meditating on Prithvi, meditating on the food, meditating on the consumer and the consumed. All that, if you try to do these upasanas to enjoy worldly benefits, it's called as Sakama Upasana. Sakama means what? I do a meditation in order to get something in for me in the world. I want to get money. Therefore, I will sit down and meditate. But suppose this is what is called a worldly benefit. It is a tangible benefit. You will get it. You will get the benefits. Suppose you do the same upasana, the same meditation, nishkama. Nishkama means what? Without any personal desires, you say, I want to understand God. Then what will happen? It will give you the spiritual strength, spiritual benefit, internal growth will happen. You will get the power of the mind to know that truth. See, it is not easy trying to know that pure consciousness. Not easy, but it is possible. That is what comes with Upasana Yoga. Adhyatmika Upasana means subjective meditation. That means I meditate on my own body, my own organs, the karma indriyas, the jnana indriyas. If I meditate on these 5 karma indriyas and 5 jnana indriyas, it is called as Adhyatmika Upasana. Okay? There is one verse here in the 10th Anuvaka which says, if you meditate on the prana, apana, samana, vyana, or in the actions which you do, that meditation is called as Adhyatmika Upasana. Then there is something called as Adi Daiva Upasana. Adhyatmika is also talks about in what is Adi Daiva Upasana? Adi Deva. Deva means Devatas. What are the Devatas? Vidyut Devata, Varuna Devata, Surya Devata. So if you meditate on the Surya Devata, then what will you get? You will get the powers. You will get the powers, the same powers which the Surya Devata has, you will get it. Similarly, we can get whatever we want, whether it is Sakama or Nishkama. Here mainly we are talking about objective meditation on the forces of nature like nakshatras, vidyut, rain, pashu. These are all can be used as symbols. Symbols of what? Of the same reality. See, we should remember there is reality is there and the whole universe is coming. It is an effect. It is a product of that cause. The water absorbed from the ocean in summer ultimately falls as rain in later on. And then thunder comes. And when the thunder comes, rains comes, the whole earth can produce food for humanity. So this whole cycle, what is the cycle? Cosmic cycle. The ocean is there, ocean water is getting evaporated, it comes in the form of rain, it gives nutrient to the seeds to grow, then it becomes the food. This is the cosmic cycle. Our whole livelihood, our whole well-being in this universe depends on these environmental natural forces. So as we meditate on these higher natural forces of rain, thunder, lightning, Prithvi is another great example of Upasana for us to do meditation. So much it can bear. We can so many things are written about this Prithvi. So Akasha Upasana is very, very common for seekers, especially because it is the closest to Brahman. Akasha means space. What is the similarity between Akasha and the Lord? Akasha is infinite. Wherever you go, there is space. There is not a single place in the whole cosmos where there is no space. Similarly, where is the Lord? Lord is everywhere, all pervading. Infinite nature. Infinite means what? All pervading. All pervading means what? At all times, in all places, the Lord is there. At all times, at all places, space is there. First point. Second point, it supports everything. All the objects are in space. Space itself is in the Lord. So the Lord supports the entire cosmos. Third point, Asanga nature. The space is unaffected with whatever it is holding. Dirty water, pure water held in space. Fragrant air, polluted air held in space. Space is never polluted. The air is polluted. Similarly, consciousness never affected by any event in the world. Birth, death, mortality, so many things are happening. Consciousness, as I am the pure consciousness, I am never affected by anything in the world. That is the type of meditation you do. Can you imagine what I mean, these are very, very intimate experiences which you can gather when you do these type of meditations. Formless, colorless, intangible, unobjectifiable, subtle is all regarding space. Similarly is this consciousness. When you are able to conceive of space in your mind, you will be able to conceive that Brahman which is taught in the Upanishads. So, what is the conclusion? Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga make my mind ready for Jnanam and Moksha. So, you should never ask the question whether Karma Yoga will give me direct benefit or not, whether it is useful or not. You should never ask this question. Whether meditation is useful, japa is useful, pilgrimages are useful, chanting is useful. These are all stepping stones. These are all supportive sadhanas. What is the single most sadhana? Study, which is the direct means, the study of Upanishads. Because that is where you learn the oneness between Jiva and Brahman. Okay, that is Jnana Phalam. What is Jnana Phalam? Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means what? I don't consider myself as a Jiva anymore. Who am I then? I am the pure Satchit Ananda Atma. At the end of Taittriya Upanishad, what should you tell? What did I learn from the whole of this Upanishad? I am not the Panchakoshas, I am Satchit Ananda Atma. How does this express in day-to-day life? Sarva Abhimana Rahitatvam. Rahitatvam means what? I drop the identification that I am the body. How is this expressed? Very beautifully, Taittriya explains in this particular verse, which is the 5th verse in the 10th Anuvaka, which is supposed to be a Mahavakya. Sayaschayam Purushe, Yascha Sava Aditye, Sayekaha. What does this say? The reality which is in the sun, in the moon, in the food, in the prana, in anything in this universe, that reality and the reality in this body is the same. This is the oneness. This is the Jiva Brahma Aikyam. This is a Mahavakyam. Again, it talks of the oneness between the higher nature, the Lakshyartha of the Jiva, and the Lakshyartha of Ishvara is Nirgunam Brahma. What is the Vachyartha? Vachyartha means direct meaning. Direct meaning of the Jiva is the Panchakoshas. What is the direct meaning of Ishvara? The universe. Universe is nothing but the Ishvara. What is the Lakshyartha of the Jiva? These two things is how you do Mahavakya analysis. I'm doing the Mahavakya analysis of Taittriya Upanishad now. Mahavakya, how to do this analysis? Through the method of Vachyartha, Lakshyartha. Vachyartha, Lakshyartha. What are the two components we take? One is the Jiva component, then we take the Ishvara component or Paramatma component. In the Jiva, there is a Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. Vachyartha is the body, mind, Panchakoshas. In the Ishvara, the body is the whole universe. In the Vachyartha, can there be oneness? No. This point you should remember. This is the most important point in the Mahavakya analysis. Very important point. In every Upanishad, you must do the Mahavakya analysis. In the Vachyartha, in the direct meaning, you can never say Jiva and Ishvara are the same. They are opposite in nature. How does the Aikyam come? How does the oneness come? The oneness comes because of Lakshyartha. What is Lakshyartha? Lakshyartha is that the Jiva is consciousness, Satchidananda principle. That is that timelessness nature. That is beyond the five koshas. Beyond the Anandamaya kosha, what is there? Lakshyartha. It is not nothingness. If you say nothingness, you are going to Shunyavada, Bauddha theory. Behind the universe, what is there? Sat principle, existence principle, isness. Lord exists. Everything in the universe is existent. So in the Jiva, you talk of the Chit. In the universe, you talk of the Sat. Sat and Chit are the Lakshyarthas, the indirect meaning of the Jiva and Ishvara. At the Lakshyartha level, there is oneness. That is Sarva Abhimana Vahitatvam. Very important point in the whole study of Upanishads. So the freedom from identification with Anatma, Panchakoshas, and the five Prapanchas. The world also is material in nature. The body is also material in nature. That is the Vachyartha. But behind the material, there is a spiritual essence, which is the Lakshyartha, and that is Brahman. There is only one reality behind the universe and me, the individual. This oneness is called as Brahman. If you can abide in that nature of Satchidananda Brahman, Atma, it is called Purnaha, it is called Ananda Atma, it is Abhaya Swarupaha, ever secure in its own nature. If I am that, I become fearless, I become immortal, and that is my real nature. I would learn to withdraw from everything in this universe and remain as that pure Brahman. Very beautiful. This is the essence of the Upanishads. That is the first benefit. There are four benefits. Sarva Abhimana Sahitatvam. This is what is called as, this is the second benefit. What is the man of realization? How does he sing his joy? See how they present it in this. Ha, hu, wa. This is how the Upanishad is singing. You see? Ahamannam, 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 ahamannado. Ahagam shloka krit. I am everything in the universe. Sarva Atma. Why do we say I am everything? This I stands for consciousness. If you are ignorant person, you will not understand this. That is why the study of Upanishad is important. I am attached to everything in the creation, the whole creation, because the creation itself rests in this Atma. This Atma is one with the Atma of Ishvara. There is only one Atma. There is only one reality in the whole universe. That is the ultimate message of the third chapter. It is the message of the second chapter. It is the message of all the Upanishads which we study. If you are able to focus on this with your one-pointed intellect, you will pick up this. You will take this as the essence of my Upanishadic study, and you will all benefit from this study. Because you will know how to get over your identification of the body and mind. Partial attachment is samsari, jiva. It is the ego, which has got raga and dvesha. When you have total detachment, what happens? There is no ego. Total detachment. You are attached to Nirguna Brahman. Everything is rahitvam. Sarva abhimana rahitvam. No raga, no dvesha. You are swatantram. You are independent. How? How do you say I am independent? Can you give me some proof? Aren't you independent in your sleep state? That state is called as Turiya Atma Brahman, because you are independent. You are not talking about the sleep state per se, which is tamoguna, but you are talking about that Brahman which is beyond the tamoguna, and that is total detachment. With that total detachment, you can also understand total attachment. What is total attachment? Total attachment means you are attached to the whole universe as that substratum of the universe. That is as Ishvara. As Vishwarupa Ishvara of the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you can have no raga, no dvesha, you have no ego, because ego is destroyed completely. When you are attached to Atma, ego is gone. What about partial attachment? Oh, I don't like this total detachment. I don't like this total attachment also. I want to have partial attachment to my body. I don't want to leave my body. That is what is called as ego. That is what is called as samsara. When you have a partial attachment to the I in your mind or the I in your body, it is called as samsara. I and mind reveals partial identification. It is paritantra, means it is a dependent principle. It depends on awareness. Jnani Swatantram is the inner freedom. They don't claim anything in this world as mine, or they will claim everything is mine. See, that is the total attachment and total detachment. What is the benefit of doing this? Ananda. This Ananda is what? Swarupa Ananda. It is not Vritti Ananda. It is not the Ananda brought by the association with the objects of the world. So what is the, what if I have this Ananda of Atma, what happens then? Birth, death, union, separation, growth, decay, all are okay. Because they are coming and going. They are samsara. It will be there. But I am not attached to them because I have learned to come out of my panchakoshas. I have got the inner freedom to drop the ananda of the world and to stick to the ananda of the Atma. The jnana phalam comes in sarva abhimana rahitatvam, sarva abhimana sahitatvam, swatantratvam, and ananda. These are the 4 benefits of the study of Taittriya Upanishad. In conclusion, what do we say? I realize the Swarupa, Atma, Ananda through the Panchakosha Viveka. It is the essence of the entire Taittriya Upanishad. With this, I conclude the third chapter of Taittriya Upanishad. Very beautiful chapter, a dialogue between Bhrigu, the student, and Varuni, the guru. Very beautiful chapter. Don't forget the verse which I told you, the second verse. Yato va imani bhutani ena jayante, that verse. Okay. I have put together some verses for study. If you want to introspect on Taittriya Upanishad, what you have studied in the last few sessions, a study of these mantras will help you. And I have picked some important verses which I have attached. You can go through the meanings yourself. In the first chapter, there are these 5 verses of the first chapter, which is the preparation chapter. In the second chapter, which is the main chapter for the teaching, these are the verses. And these are 5 plus 2, 7, and 3, 10. 10 verses of the second chapter. Okay. Then the third chapter has these verses, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 verses of the third chapter. Totally about 15 verses are there, and out of 31 verses of the entire Upanishad, these are the 15 important verses. Okay. So with this, I conclude today's session of Taittriya Upanishad. And next week, I will get into Taittriya Upanishad with Shankara Bhashya. I've never taken this before in my last 10 years of teaching. This is the first time I'm taking up a Bhashya, a Shankara Bhashya session. This will be based on chapter 2 and 3. And the problem is it takes a long time to teach these bhashya, these commentaries. I'll tell you why. I have got notes running like this, which are the notes of the bhashya, 1,700 pages. Now, for me to take all this is going to be extremely difficult, but I still want to give you some taste of what is there in these bhashya. So what I thought I will try to do in a few sessions is just take the first beginning portion, the first verse of this second chapter, only one verse, a small portion of the commentary. I will take it up for maybe 2, 3 sessions. If you find it interesting, I will continue. If you find it too heavy, because it is, you have to take it very slowly. You have to understand slowly, because they go through logic, reasoning. So if you are able to enjoy the reasoning, I will continue for a few sessions. But roughly about, out of 1,700 pages, I will probably have 100 pages of notes by next week, which I can share with you, and I can take it up if you like. Okay, so that is the program for the next week. We'll see how it goes. And after this Taittriya Upanishad, I will be taking Katha Upanishad. Okay, And after Katho will be Mandukya Upanishad. Four Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, Taittriya Upanishad. Mundaka and Keno we have finished. Now we have finished Taittriya. The two more other important Upanishads which is a must, which is good for study for all seekers is Katho Upanishad and Mandukya. Mandukya is the best because it's a direct realization. It is amazing. Okay, so this is what it is. If you like to do this Bhashyam, let me know in your discussions today. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachade Purnasya Purnamathaya Purnameva Vasishyade Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. So we'll see what is there in the chat box. Okay, there's a question here from Babu Bhai. I think it's Babu Bhai, but anyway. If prana is not body and mind, then what is prana? See, prana is the air Vayu Tattvam which is there in the body. Prana means it is the Vayu Tattva. Whatever is the air outside, when you inhale, it becomes prana. Outside, we don't call it prana. When it is inside the body, it is called as prana. Now, the prana, what is the main use of the prana? It is a prana which keeps which does all the physiological functions. Prana is the one which splits into 5 portions. What are the 5 portions of prana? Prana, one itself is breathing and inhalation, exhalation. Apana. Apana means what? Evacuation. Whatever waste which you throw out is called as evacuation. Prana, apana, samana. Digestion. Then circulation, vyana. Vyana means circulation of the blood. So one prana in different centers of the body is given apana, vyana, samana, udana. 5 names. And 5 names are 5 functions. Circulation. All of you will know circulation of the blood is very important through all the arteries and veins. Without the prana, there cannot be any circulation of blood. Without the prana, there is no digestion. Without the prana, there is no inhalation, exhalation. The lungs will not get oxygen. All this, what do? They keep the body alive. Okay, so remember, prana, the Vayu Tattvam is the one which keeps the body alive. It keeps the mind alive. There is a direct link between prana and manaha. Direct link. If you do pranayama, you will see the link very easily. Very easy. Inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, exhalation. Keep control of that. That is what is called as pranayama. There are 5 main techniques of doing this pranayama. A Hatha Yogi specialist will teach you this. How to inhale, how to hold, and how to exhale. How to inhale with a count. You inhale with a count of 5. You hold for a count of 3, 4. Again, you exhale, but for a count of 6 or 7. Exhalation is always slower than the inhalation. When you follow the pranayama, all your physiological functions, they improve. You will live longer because you have a healthy body. Okay, so the importance of prana, you can't imagine what we'll all be. There is no, you see, when the prana goes away, this is what is called as prana upasana. The most, which see, there is a story in the Puranas, in some of these Upanishads, you will find the story. There was a competition between all the organs in the body, and they all wanted to check which is the most prominent one. Then what happened? The Lord said, okay, I'll give you a test. Let the eyes go away for some time, see what happens to the body. Nothing happens. Let the mind go away for some time, nothing happens. So each sense organs, if it goes away for some time, nothing happens. But what if prana goes? The moment prana decides to go, all the sense organs get wound up, and they also start leaving with the prana. So prana is a very important, vital factor in our body. It keeps the body alive. It is Shreshtaha. It is very glorious. It is Jeshtaha, means it is the firstborn, Hiranyagarbha Tattvam in the universe. Prana is the one which keeps the universe also alive. When it keeps the universe alive, it is called as Hiranyagarbha. Okay, there's so many things to talk about prana. It's an ocean. There is a Upanishad called as Prashno Upanishad, which talks a lot about the importance of this prana. Okay, Shanta, you have a question. Go ahead.
Okay. My question is, when we talk about this Shankaracharya's Bhashyam, at the moment as we have gone through all these Katha Upanishads or this Taittriya Upanishad, it feels very, I mean, for me at the moment, I feel it's still superficial for me because I'm not able to really get into the depth, as in I feel that, yeah, I understand the principle, but it's all surface level.
Okay.
Because there is, yes, I know there is Brahman, and this we are Brahman, and the whole world is the body of the God, or of this Brahman. All that looks like very theoretical at the moment for me. But I believe that understanding this Shankara Bhashyam will be going a bit more in depth. And is it any plan? Do you have any plan that at some point you're going to take it at depth level? Because we've been here. I mean, we've seen many of these phrases, or in whether it is Bhagavad Gita or Katha Upanishad or Taittriya Upanishad. Now we have had many definitions of Brahman. We know there is Advaitam. We understand in the sense of the theoretical I'm talking about. I'm still not. It's like not got under the skin. That feeling that you are Brahman. That is not. I feel that knowledge is not clicking with
Yeah.
and it feels very
Yeah,
for me. It
that's
still
correct.
feels
You will feel this. You will feel this because this is a very natural feeling of all the seekers. This study of Upanishad is extremely subtle, and as you study, you will find that it is a very very slow progress which you will see in your own mind. It is a very gradual, it is a very, very subtle process which changes your intellect, which makes your intellect more and more subtle. So the study, your question is whether we should are you suggesting that we do the Bhashyam? You want to get a taste of the Bhashyam for one or
Yeah,
two sessions?
I would definitely would like it, but I want to know whether you will have another course which will only do at
Only
least, you know,
Bhashyam.
some only Bhashyam. Yeah.
Okay. See, my plan is I will definitely do the Bhashyam sometime. I don't know when, but uh, because these Bhashyams, for example, this Taittriya Bhashyam is 1,700 pages. It's a
Mhm.
commentary. It's a commentary of Shankaracharya on all these, whatever we have studied as a Taittriya Upanishad in a nutshell. Now he has written this Bhashyam. It can go long, and the only problem is if you try to read it yourself, you may not understand the depth. It
Yeah.
needs somebody to explain. So uh, my problem is the time. If I start doing any bhashyam, it will take at least 1 year to finish one Upanishad. The Mandukya Upanishad is also very, very, very heavy. Taittriya Upanishad is also there. Keno Upanishad also, the bhashyam is there. I have notes of Keno Upanishad bhashyam, which I'll be finishing within a couple of months, which I'll put up in the website. Taittriya chapter 2 and 3, the bhashyam notes are already there. But like I said, your question is whether I will do it, when I can do it. I'm not sure at this stage. I would like to do it, but let us see. Let us complete the study of Upanishads in this small way. And perhaps we will take up one Upanishad and we'll do the entire Bhashyam sometime.
Yeah, I think that would be at least, you know, welcomed,
Yeah.
because
I like
we get the taste of
I like
understanding of.
I like your inquisitiveness to learn the Bhashyam, which is very good, which is amazing. But I am telling you, the Shankara Bhashyam is the ultimate.
Okay.
Even if you study one Bhashyam, it will give you tremendous knowledge.
Okay.
And I mean, I can recommend any of these. I would still recommend Mandukya Bhashyam. I've just started writing the notes on that. It is my first 200 pages, which I've just written on Mandukya. It is just an introduction of the comment of the Mandukya. 200 pages on introduction. I've not even started the first verse. But anyway, I'll explain.
But do you think that Kena Upanishad Bhashyam would be a bit more complicated, because Kena Upanishad talks about describing Brahman as Shotrasya Shrotam, you know, is a power behind. So it is much more subtle and much more
correct. See,
abstract.
I'll tell you what, between the three Bhashyams, I've done Kena Upanishad, I've done Taittriya, I've done Mandukya. Between the three Bhashyams, I would still say that Mandukya is still the best. Mandukya.
Okay. Because the three avastas.
If you have a choice to study, I would just wait till you see, or you can, if you get a Bhashyam notes, or if you get Bhashyam commentaries of any other Acharya, you can go through them and basically study what Shankaracharya has written about that Upanishad. It is amazing.
Yeah, that's what. That's what I'm looking for.
I would suggest. I have not gone through any other Bhashyam because I've just done only these three.
Okay.
Keno, Taittriya, and Mandukya is what I started now. Keno I finished, Taittriya I finished. But between the three, I find Mandukya Bhashyam absolutely amazing. I mean, right in the beginning of the Mandukya Bhashyam, Shankaracharya clearly defines this ultimate reality as the timeless principle. We all experience timelessness in our sleep. And we all experience time in waking. Time is experienced in waking. Time is experienced in the dream. But there is timelessness experienced in sleep state and beyond that sleep state. What Shankaracharya says is timelessness in the sleep state is also an experience of the mind only. So it is not timelessness. Time only you are experiencing time, the
Timeless, yeah.
concept of what you think is timelessness. But that
So
is
there is something called timelessness.
Yes, you're right. So sleep state is nothing but there is one, you see, normally in our waking state, we have many vrittis. Vritti means we have many thoughts. Now, these thoughts are connected with the objects in the world through our sense organs. That is our waking state. In the dream state, we have thoughts. That is subtle body thoughts. So gross thoughts are there in the waking state. Subtle thoughts are there in the dream state. There is a causal thought also. That is what Shankaracharya says. The causal thought is only one thought. Single thought. What is that single thought? It is continuously there throughout our sleep state. It is called thought which says, I know nothing. I know nothing. I know nothing. That is a vritti, the subtlest vritti. Now, this is also in time. And what is timelessness? Timelessness is the cause of what? Time. Timelessness is the cause. That timelessness is called as Brahman. Timelessness is only an understanding in the waking state. It is an understanding, but once you understand what happens, you lose the concept of time and you are with timeless. And when this happens, it happens only through knowledge, only through a clear understanding of the Upanishad. Upanishad says there is timelessness. And this timelessness is what is described by Omkara. That is what is Mandukya Upanishad.
Okay.
Omkara is a symbol. When you chant Om in your own mind, if you have studied Mandukya Upanishad, you will know how to use Omkara both for time and timeless.
Oh.
When you study Omkara and chant Om in your mind, when you study Mandukya Upanishad, it will teach you time and timelessness. That is the beauty of this Omkara. I'm going to do this meditation on Wednesday. Coming Wednesday session, next Wednesday, I'm going to do Omkara meditation. This is what I'm going to do.
Oh, is it? Okay.
When you chant Om in your mind, the sound Om is the saguna, is the time principle. At the end of chant of Om, there is a silence. That silence represents the timelessness. The moment you are able to see the difference between the sound Om and the silence, and again the sound Om and the silence, what happens in your mind is you become aware of that timeless Turiyam Nirgunam Brahman.
Wonderful. Actually, yeah, I will want to, but I think I don't know how my schedule is because it's a weekday.
This is a step-by-step study of Mandukya Upanishad. In Mandukya Upanishad, there are 12 mantras. There are 5 mantras which talk about Omkara.
Okay.
And the balance 7 mantras, they talk about the 3 avasthas. Okay. So Om is the best example for understanding, timeless, and time. Sagunam and Nirgunam. What is the
I really look forward for this now.
Yeah, this Wednesday I'm going to do that meditation. I mean,
Okay.
my meditation sessions are just 10 minutes, but I will explain to you the beauty of Omkar.
Okay.
6 Upanishads talk of Omkara meditation.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I think if
that was
anybody
a
else is
long
going yeah,
answer.
no, but thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I will see.
Okay, any other questions? I don't see anything else in the chat box.
I'm Raghu Kaushik.
Yeah, Raghu, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just it was very wonderful about Omkara meditation. Is there any restriction who all can do? Just it can brief restriction on part of who all can do Omkara meditation. Any Vedic principle talks about it, or everyone are freely eligible to do the Omkara meditation?
No, see, yeah, okay, good question. See, there is no restriction for Omkara meditation. All the restrictions are given by ignorant people. There's nothing called as restriction. If your mind is ready, if you have a keen interest to know what is this God, what is this real nature of me, there is nothing, there's no other restriction. You can come on Wednesday, learn that meditation. I've taken that meditation many times in my sessions. Many people have found the benefit of Omkara meditation. There's no problem. This is prescribed by the Veda to reach the inner depth of your own self. It is there is no restriction from what I have learned. There is no restriction. Anybody can do it. You should learn how to do it. See, the methodology is what you should learn. It's widely available. It's available in the YouTube. And if you go to YouTube, Omkara meditation, you will find 100 videos. So there's no problem. But learn from a guru who can teach you how to do it. And when you study Mandukya Upanishad, what happens is you will learn the technique of this meditation, which will take you to the highest point in your life. That is the beauty. There is a teaching involved. That is what I was trying to explain to Shanta in the beginning, that there is a teaching. So you see, it's knowledge. Ultimately, it is knowledge. Now, it is that knowledge principle you are trying to understand. See, all of us are knowing our body. We all are knowing our thoughts. So what is that knowing principle? That is what you will understand when you do Omkara meditation. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Raghu. So you are come for Wednesday, and this session, the same session on Wednesday, you will find this meditation very useful.
Yeah, I was told it's weekdays a bit.
You can just register for the class and get a video.
I have, sir. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah,
sir.
if you have already done it, you will just get a video. You can watch the video anytime you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shama, go ahead.
Shikuji. I must confess, I was not able to, not because I didn't want to, but I was not able to concentrate properly. And that was obviously like my mind has been thrown for some reason or the other into a vritti form, so the more the vritti, so I just happened to be in that phase.
Yeah, don't worry, Shama, it happens to all of us.
So, which I find it very disappointing, and which, so I wanted to ask you, what would be a very nice thing for, like I consider myself a fairly serious spiritual seeker. What would be a very useful thing, a practical tip, because just now you mentioned very nicely about Omkara and how it sits very nicely in the interface between time and the timelessness, you know, because our conscious awareness is constantly shifting between the very wakeful state, which is full of vrittis, to the sleep state, which is our absolute nature, you know, and the closer we are to one spectrum, and we kind of, between the two banks, we are swimming, isn't it? In our conscious awareness. Is that right way to visualize?
Yeah. So what you're saying is, but then you don't stop at the sleep state as such. There is something beyond the sleep state, and that is what is our goal.
See, would Omkara would be a very good thing to simply meditate Omkara when you are unable to do your normal puja, worship, whatever meditation. Would that be the simplest thing to do at that time to allow some kind of sanity?
No, you see, first is trying to watch your mind. That is the beginning stage. After you have done a watching of the mind, Sakshi Swarupam, you know, you can do the Sakshi meditation. Once you have done that for a few sessions, by now most of you have done that many times. So that is quite easy. Now the next step after that Sakshi meditation is this Omkara meditation.
So it
Just
just
wait for
allows
this Wednesday. This Wednesday, I will explain why is this important.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to present on Wednesday the meditation, the index for all the 100 meditations I've taken. Some of you wanted to know which mantra, which meditation number it is. So I have prepared an index which I'll share with you on Wednesday.
Okay, okay. Good.
Okay, anybody else?
I feel amazed. How do you have this great discipline doing so much work?
No, this is not my great. There are many masters who have done much more. What I try to do is very small.
Still,
It's very small compared to what people have done so much. You can see what other acharyas in today's life, they have done marvelous things. What I have done is very small, tiny.
still you are great.
Anybody else has any other question?
It's good. It's good.
Okay. Otherwise, so next week will be a taste of Shankara Bhashya. I'll just introduce you. You see how it goes, and then we are going to do Katha Upanishad whenever we start the Katha Upanishad. Thank you. Good night and good day to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Small seed is great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Small seed is great. There you go.